his morning coffee, which was always the same, large, skinny vanilla latte, Sam took the opportunity to plead her case again. Okay, I get what you're saying, James. I honestly do. What I don't get is how this opportunity will be different from what I currently do here. Sam was all for climbing the corporate ladder. Hell, she'd been busting her ass for years trying to get ahead. But did James seriously think sending her to Dallas was going to be in her best interest? The idea seemed so far out of left field, Sam felt a little off balance. However, if she was perfectly honest with herself, which she tried to be on a regular basis, she knew the timing couldn't have been worse. Or better. The idea of being some 200 miles from her regular routine was somewhat daunting, although a little intriguing at the same time. Okay, so maybe more intriguing than anything else, but still. The rational side of her agreed with James. The opportunity could be a well-timed boost to her career and give her some of the exposure her superiors were constantly telling her she needed. Not to mention, it would be a pleasant change in her rather mundane, as of late, life. Listening with half an ear as he gave his best sales pitch, Sam continued driving, doing her best to focus on the road and not on the man ranting in her car, elaborating on all of the reasons she should consider this opportunity. Based on the way he was ticking off one reason after another, she knew there was a list sitting in front of him. James was the type of man, sort of like Santa Claus, to make a list, and he probably checked it twice, if not more. Yes, it makes sense, Samantha finally caved. Can we sit down and talk about this for a little while? I'm on my way to the office now, about 5 minutes away. The trip would be more like 10 minutes because now she had to stop off to get her morning coffee. There was no way she could go up against him without a serious dose of caffeine. I'll see you in a few, she told him when he finally conceded. As she pulled into the parking lot of her favorite coffee shop, Sam replayed the conversation over and over in her head. The proposal was unexpected, yet, with little ego involved, Sam realized she was likely the best candidate for the job. At least at the moment. The project they wanted her to lead wasn't just any run-of-the-mill project. This was one that had been in the works for a while, and it would give her the opportunity to show her superiors what she was made of. Although it had been on the radar for 6 months, few preparations had been made for it, which would leave Sam with plenty of working room. It truly was a project manager's dream job. Wow, and okay, that sounded downright cheesy even to her. It was a testament to how utterly boring her life had become. With some serious consideration, Sam knew she could take this assignment to the next level. After all, she had a lot of ideas. Although it seemed a little arrogant, Sam knew that if she were placed in charge of something, it would be done on time and it would be done right. That was one characteristic she prided herself on. As Sam waited, again not so patiently, in the drive-through line, she continued with her mental pep talk. She knew she had to put up a reasonable amount of resistance because they expected that from her, but it didn't mean she couldn't be excited about it. By the time Sam pulled into the parking lot of XTX's remote branch, she had begun a mental list of what she needed to address, even before she left town. To have already made a decision despite her lack of information, Sam was somewhat surprised with herself. There were questions that needed to be answered long before she gave a definitive answer, but at this point it was clear which way she was leaning. How long would something like this take? Did they plan to relocate her permanently or just for the time they allotted? Those were two of the most pressing questions, and she realized they actually didn't have much to do with the project itself. Using her mental calculator, Sam estimated it would take at least 6 months to get the requirements gathered and documented, as well as getting the team in place. All of that would happen before the actual project work began. No wonder her social life had become so stale. She spent way too much time thinking about work. Sam grabbed her coffee, her purse, and her laptop bag before she shut the truck door behind her. As she stood in the parking lot, both bags now hoisted over her shoulder, she stared at her SUV, realizing exactly how dull her life had become. The fact that her most prized possession was the vehicle she drove said way too much about her mental state. At 30, that almost felt like a midlife crisis waiting to happen. Acknowledging the time, Sam turned toward the building and stepped up the pace. By now, James would be staring out of his office window waiting for her arrival. As she surveyed the small 2-story building, a smile crept on. The familiarity of her surroundings gave her pause.